Hi, it's Casey Kaufhold back with another video, and today I have
Samantha Ensign.
And we're going to go over all the drills that we do to get ready for our upcoming seasons. And those drills are:
we're doing the gold game, a podcast drill, balance drill, a Swedish dot game, and film review.
So we will show you how we do those drills, what all the rules are, and how you can tailor them to your own shooting. The first drill is gold game. Now, gold game is originally played outside on a clock. So you'll be shooting outside, you'll have 15 seconds to shoot an arrow, and then 15 seconds of rest time, or time that you can reload your arrow, and then shoot again. And you'll do that 6 times in an end, and then once you get down to the target, you'll be able to score. Now, original gold game is if you shoot in the yellow, the gold, you would get 1 point. If you shoot in the 8, it's 0, and anything outside of the 8 would be -1. And so each end, you'll score your arrows and then have a flipboard where you write down the score you have, and then you play until you get to 50 points. You can adjust this for your skill level, of course. Another type of gold game we play outdoors is called 9.5 gold game. It's what I normally play. It's where the yellow is +1 and anything outside of the yellow is -1. So again, for your skill level, you can adjust it, and we can also do that indoors. So flip this around here.
So like Casey said, gold game can be modified to your skill level. So indoors, you can do it where the X ring is 1 point, the 10 is even, and the 9 would be -1. Or you can do where the whole 10 is +1, the 9 is even, and out of that is -1. You can adjust it based on the day or based on where your skill level is at.
Very good. So we'll show you how we do our individual skill levels indoors and show you how we do the flipboards downrange. So here we have our first end, and Sam's going to explain how she scores.
So I'm scoring where the 10 ring is 1 point, the 9 ring is neutral, and anything outside of that is -1. So I shot a 30 this end, so I would have 3 points.
And I score with the 10 being 1 and anything else being -1. Now, playing without a neutral number makes it a little bit more difficult. So this end, since I have 3 10s, I would have 3 points. But say if I were to shoot a 9, I would only get 1 point because I would have 2 that are in, so 1 and 1. And then if it would be a 9, it'd be -1, so I'd have 1 point that end. Makes it a little bit more challenging. So here we would keep playing until one of us got to 50, and you can make it a little competition, see who does it first, or if you're practicing on your own, just go to 50 points.
It's a good alternative to just straight scoring and another way to get that tournament practice and mentality, but with just not straight scoring. So the next drill we're going to cover is the podcast drill. The podcast drill is a good way to train your mental process and to work on shooting subconsciously. So you want to pick a podcast that you're interested in and not music, because that's easy to tune out. You want to be listening to the podcast and focusing on that while letting muscle memory take over your shot. You can do this during a scoring round or just when you feel like you need a mental break. If you do it during a scoring round, it's interesting to see how your score change is when you're using the podcast drill and when you're not. It's a good way to document your mental strength and to see how you're feeling when you're just shooting on muscle memory. Casey behind me is demonstrating how to do it.
Podcast that I like to listen to is the Competition Archery Media Podcast. They have great guests on there. They review archers tournaments and new equipment coming out, have everything archery, and I love listening to PJ Riley's voice. He has such a good podcast host voice. So that is my favorite podcast. What's your favorite podcast?
I also am a huge fan of listening to PJ Riley. I mean, you can't get better than that.
The next drill we're going to do is shooting on balance discs. So far all these drills have mostly been geared towards the mental side of archery, where this is mostly about your balance in your actual form of the shot.
So I'm going to be demonstrating it on the 2 balance discs, while Casey will be showing it on the Bosa ball. So they each have their challenges. The Bosa ball, you lean and your weight is more evenly distributed, while on the 2, it's not quite as even, so it gives a little bit of a different challenge.
Yep, and so you can either do this while shooting on target or shooting blank bail, whatever you think is best for your training right now. So I'm going to shoot some on target. And
I'm doing it on blank bail.
Yep, so we're going to step on up there. I will say it is important that if you have not done this before, or if you are a little challenged in the balance department, I would suggest having somebody on standby while you do this. I have seen people, trip a little bit getting on or off, or even while they're shooting. So it is important that if you are not experienced with doing something like this, to have somebody around to help you.
Also important to engage your core while you're on here. Make sure to focusing on where your balance is and to staying strong in your core.
And that is the balance disc drill.
So the next drill we're going to explain is a Swedish dot game.
So this is a fun thing you can do in a group of people. You can play it from anywhere to 2 people to 10 people, however many you want to do. So you'll shoot 3 arrows each end. Everybody will shoot 3 arrows. And then once you go down to the targets, you usually play this on a 3 spot. That way you have the 3 different targets to judge off of. And each target is going to be a closest to center shoot off. So once we get down there, everybody's shot. We'll look at the top targets, pick the closest arrow to center. That person gets 1 point. And then you'll go to the left target and then the right target. Each one, whoever has closest center, you'll give them a point. And then after however many ends y'all get through, the first to 7 is the winner. So we'll shoot our arrows and then go judge them downrange.
So we shot our arrows, and so each closest to center, you get a point. So I have closest on the top, Casey has closest on the bottom left, and I have closest on the bottom right. So I would have 2 points.
And usually when we score, we just keep tallies on the target. So Sam will have 2, I'll have 1, and then the first to 7 wins. An additional rule, if you can't tell whose is closest, so say you have like 2 arrows, like say if these were on the same target, right, these arrows are pretty much in the same spot. And so if you're on this target and you can't tell who won between 2 people, the next round you don't, well, for that round you don't score that target. And then the next round, it's worth 2 points. So in the end of a tie, only 2 points will be rewarded for the 2 targets left. And the next end, you'll shoot off again with everybody for this target, and it'll be worth 2 for who's closest to center. So far, we have reviewed the Gold Game, Podcast, Balance Discs, and Swedish Dot Game. And the last one we are going to tell you about is film review. So when we do film review, we usually have our phone set up on a tripod and record ourselves while we're shooting a scoring round. Now this gives you a lot of feedback when you watch the video of how your form changes under pressure. And so Sam here is shooting. She might be working on a certain thing that she's looking for. Maybe it's her wrist angle or how her release looks, if she's moving her head. Anything you're working on, it's great to see when you look back on the film of how it changes between practice and competition or when you're scoring.
Thank you for joining us for learning about training drills. We hope you add these to your training schedule.
If you have any more that you guys like to do or suggestions of something else we could explain, please drop it in the comments. Thank you, Sam, for joining me for this video. She's my fun training buddy, so we like to do videos. But catch us next time for another one, and don't forget to like and subscribe.